Hello, so thank you for purchasing the sheet. This means the world to me that you are supporting our shop. So I'm going to go through some instructions of how to utilize the sheet to its full capabilities. So when you first get the sheet, it'll appear blank as you see here. The first stop section over here, the event tracking section, will have three things that will kind of highlight about your big day. So how many days left or remaining until your event or your party, what your confirmed guest count is, and how many outstanding RSVPs you have. Right below that, you have your event details section. So in this section, we'll go ahead and fill some of this out. So we're just going to indicate when our event is, when our start time is, where our location is going to be, what theme we're going to have for our party, and what our total dollar budget is. After entering in this information, you're going to can go down into the itinerary section and kind of put some further details about what your itinerary is going to be. So maybe at 9 a.m. our guests are going to arrive. At 9:30 we're going to do a craft. And then at 10 a.m. we're going to have meet and greet with princesses. So after we've got all this, we've kind of got the highlights of our event as well as some event details. You'll notice that the countdown has updated to say how many days are remaining. That is from this date here, as well as we have nothing changed with our confirmed guest count or our outstanding RSVPs. So we've got the details of our party. We want to know a little bit about what we want to budget and what categories we want to apply. So we can go into this middle section here in the green and kind of highlight some budgeting sections. So we can enter simply the category as well as the budget amount. You'll see this updates to let you know how much of your remaining budget based on what you've spent. This will be updated a little bit later in this video. And we're just going to put supplies. So one thing I want to highlight is the sheet does have some logic built in to notify you if you've exceeded your budget based on these categories. So let's say for whatever reason, we're going to pay $800 in supplies. So we see that our total budget for our categorized amount is at $1,600, whereas our total budget for the party was set for $1,500. So the sheet is letting us know that, hey, your categorized budget is exceeding your total budget. So maybe we want to back this back down and say, okay, we're going to try to limit ourselves to $700 in supplies. So you notice this bottom graph here is updated. It's showing how much we have budgeted for each of these categories, but we have nothing for spend. But we'll get to that a little bit later in the sheet. This right side here is looking at a checklist. So we can go in here and we can say we want to finalize itinerary, send out all invitations, finalize catering order. So I've put in some items that we want to accomplish for our party, but you see here it's saying that 0% of them are complete. So as you were to complete each of these items, you could come in here and click these check boxes that are next to these, and it'll update this graph, giving you a visual representation of how much of your checklist you've completed. So jumping in, we can kind of go into our next tab on the sheet, which is our guest list tab. So in this tab here, you have a number of columns. You have where you can indicate the name of the guest, whether you've sent the invite, what their RSVP was, whether it was yes or no. If they do indicate yes, it will update on our dashboard sheet to show that they are a confirmed guest. If we've sent an invite and we have not received an RSVP from them, that would update some of the outstanding RSVPs remaining. If you have certain guests that have food or dietary considerations, you can indicate that here to make sure you have appropriate food for them. And then if you've received a gift from them, maybe some specifics about the gift so that when you go to write your thank you note, you can indicate personalized touch. So we're just going to go ahead and fill out some names here. So we've got 3 names here. We've sent 3 invites. So if we jump back to our dashboard, we will see that we have no confirmed guests, but we do have 3 outstanding RSVPs. So I'm going to jump back to my guest list sheet. The first 2 have RSVP'd yes. And we're not going to indicate anything for that one. So we see that we now have 2 confirmed guests and 1 outstanding RSVP. If they were to come in and click no, see now that we still have 2 confirmed guests and we have no outstanding RSVPs. So by entering the guest information here, you can get a representation on the home page of where you are. It's the status of awaiting RSVPs. So you can fill this out for each of your guests. This will allow up to 500 guests. If you need more, you can work on extending the sheet down on your own edit, or you can reach out if there are any issues. So we indicated back on our dashboard these categorized budgets here. So each of these entered items here are going to be automatically pulled to our expense tab as categories here. So we had venue, food, and supplies. We've got venue, food, and supplies here. So as many as you enter on that dashboard in this section here will populate in the drop down over there. So let's just say we're going to add another column, beverage, and we're just not going to, we're going to put our budget $0 for sake right now. So if I go back to expense, you can see now that I have a beverage column. So if I were to enter some of these in, the date of purchasing, we're just going to say today, we have food, we have $300, and it was pizzas. So now if we go back to our dashboard, we see that for our food, we now have a spent column. So this is updated on this graph, updated on here to indicate how much has been spent, and then how much is remaining of our actual food budget. So we'll go back in, we'll put another expense. So let's say on the 28th or tomorrow, we have our venue coming out, and it's going to be $1,000. So if we go back to our dashboard, we see that we've kind of overspent on our venue. We've our negative 700 from what our budget was. We can see that visually down here, and we can see the breakdown of what we've spent here from our food to our venue. And these will auto-populate each time you enter in for any of these categories. So now I want to show another highlight of the sheet. So let's say our venue cost ended up being $1,500. So it went up $500. So on our dashboard, our whole budget was $1,500, but we've spent $1,800. And so the sheet will go ahead and notify the users that now your total spend actually exceeds your total budget. So you get some feedback based on what your categorical budget is versus your total budget, as well as the amount spent versus your total budget. So I'm going to go ahead and just update that to kind of remove that. And you'll see that it's back below. We're still below our total budget. We then can log all of our expenses on here. It allows large number of expenses for each user, up to 500. But then we can move right along into our supplies tab. So what our supplies tab is it breaks out just some of the items that you may be ordering for the party and help tracking quantities. I know typically my household, when we purchase things for parties, we're not able to get maybe all of an item that we want at a store. So we either have to go around to multiple stores or try over a couple weeks. So this is a way to kind of keep that information contained in one space. So you can indicate, food and drinks or decorations. So on the left, let's just say we're ordering 2 liters of pop. So this is auto defaulted to a number of categories to pick from. So you can pick for an item for food or drink to be either an appetizer, a beverage, a dessert, a main dish, a soup and salad, or a specialty item. So we've just put in a 2 liter pop. It's going to be a beverage. We're going to say that we need 20. And we've only obtained 10. So this is a way to remind us that we have only obtained a portion of what we actually need. So kind of a way to keep track of what you need to be on the lookout for as you're shopping. And as a visual representation, if you were to obtain all the quantity, you could go ahead and just check this box just so it's easy to see what you've already accomplished. Moving into the decorations, this does not have a drop down like the food and drink did for the type. So we could just enter information manually here. So we have party balloons. Again, we need 20. We've only obtained 10. So you may have some vendors that are helping work with your event or your party. So you may want to catalog that information. So there's a vendor information tab here to indicate that. So we can indicate we're going to have a balloon animal person coming by. Their vendor name is just going to be balloon. And we could provide some contact information for them. And then maybe some notes. We've confirmed the date with them, but we need to pay the deposit still. So this can help keep track of all the special vendors that you have supporting your party all in one place. So after entering in all this information, you can go back to the dashboard and kind of get that high-level view of all the information, getting the events details and tracking, taking a second glance at your itinerary, getting a breakdown of your budget and your spending, and then seeing what is left to do on your checklist. Again, I thank you so much for purchasing the sheet, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out via messaging on Etsy, or you can send an email to theorganizedgridetsy@gmail.com. Have a great day.